Defense have any other witnesses to present or evidence?
Yes, Judge. We have Rick Chagrin, who's present, who would like to make a brief statement.
Go fuck yourself! Turned on immediately.
Do you swear
That modifies that to which
I do.
you can lower me? Do you swear or affirm the testimony
off
your testimony will be the truth? Please raise your right hand, sir.
My name is Richard Gordon Chagrin.
And then you prepared a statement here today?
Yes, I have.
Okay, you can give that to the court at this time.
This is on behalf of myself and my wife Susan Brotman, an attorney at law. We have known Donna Adelsin for over 35 years. We have known Chagrin for over 35 years. She's been a dear friend and travel companion, and we are still in shock of her current circumstances. We know her to be a loving parent, wife, and grandparent. We stand behind her. There's been a lot of bad and inaccurate negative publicity, therefore not allowing a fair trial. There's been a lot of bad and negative publicity, for truth. She's not close for hell, therefore not allowing a fair trial. We contend if a change of venue was granted, she would have been found not guilty. We are hopeful she will be found guilty. We contend if a change of venue was granted, she would have been found not guilty. Thank you very much for your consideration.
These are character statements or quibbling about the evidence and the rulings?
It's character, Judge. They're here to talk about their friendship and time. Thank you.
I said, bitch, where?
At this time, I believe that Mrs. Adelsin's husband, Harvey Adelsin, would like to address the court.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes, I do.
You can lower your hand. You may speak.
Thank you, Judge, and respected officers of the court for allowing me to speak. I have been with Donna Adelsin for over 50 years. My wife sacrificed everything so that she could pour her heart and soul into our children, our grandchildren, and our marriage. She has done nothing wrong. She has done nothing wrong. She has done nothing wrong.
She has done nothing wrong.
And yet is being punished for a crime that she did not commit.
Which co-conspirator did Donna Adelsin call?
So looking at Donna Adelsin's locations and communication, there is a text message from Donna to Charlie, a chat, that says call us ASAP. So what we see is looking at the combined location information from both Donna Adelsin and Harvey Adelsin's cell phones, their locations. We see that they are consistent with leaving the South Miami, South Beach area around or a little before 8 p.m. and beginning to travel north. And if we continue, we see events at 8:35 p.m. again in the North Miami area, and then we don't have any other usable events with location until 10:53.
And did you go to Charlie Adelsin's house to get the money on the night of the shooting?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he say anything about his parents when you arrived at his house that night?
He told me that his parents just left.
Are you familiar with Catherine McVano's statement that Charlie Adelsin told her that his parents had just been at his home?
Yes.
Is Charlie's home located between the location we see there for the cell site at 8:35 and the location for the cell site at 10:53?
Yes.
Is there evidence in the phone records that Donna Adelsin went to Charlie Adelsin's home on the night of Dan Markel's murder?
So there is another communication from Miss Donna Adelsin at 8:59 p.m. stating outside your house.
She's sending that message to Charlie Adelsin, is that right?
Correct.
What can you determine about when Donna Adelsin would have reached Charlie Adelsin's residence according to this estimated travel time?
So if we look at this, we have the message at 8:59 that says outside your house. Charlie responds to that about 20 minutes later with 10 minutes. Again, using the same route planning, we see that that should have taken approximately 25 minutes to travel from our 8:32 starting point to Charlie Adelsin's residence. And so that would have put the estimated time of arrival at his residence 8:57, and the text message is sent at 8:59. So that would be pretty consistent. And what we see looking at Charlie Adelsin's locations, the 9:19, when the text message is sent, we can see the cell site that his handset is using. As we continue down, we can see that he has communication at 9:21, and then the next cell site he has is 9:40. So he reaches his residence sometime between 9:21 and 9:40. If we look at the 9:19 time of the text message, that 10 minutes is about correct for when he would arrive home.
So he says he's 10 minutes away en route to his house.
Correct.
And the next morning, did something happen with the money?
He told me that the money is in the trunk of my car.
All right, and was the money in the trunk of your car?
I actually did not check it. I just got my keys and left.
So you believed him that it was there?
Yes, ma'am.
And where did you go to deliver the money?
In the alleyway over Lewis Slip at that time.
At Luis Rivera's residence?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was in charge of getting the money after the job was done?
Katie.
How much were you to be paid for your part in this crime?
35.
$35,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you know how much Garcia got?
40, I believe.
$40,000?
Yeah.
And did you know how much Katie got?
No, I don't know. I can't remember. But I think it was like 40. I think I thought it was like 100, something like that.
Okay. Somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it a one-time payment or was it a payment that occurred over time? It's what you got.
No, it was a one-time payment.
And did Garcia show up there when you pulled up there?
Yeah, he just kind of jumped in my car. I didn't know where he came from.
All right. And was he able to get the money?
Yes, I told him that his money was in the trunk of the car.
Did you notice that the money was stapled together?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Okay. Did you notice something else unusual about the money?
A couple days after the fact, it was wet and starting to mold.
And did you ever mention that fact to Charlie Adelsin?
I didn't.
Okay. And when you contacted him and said the money's wet, or you just mentioned to him the money's wet, did he have a response?
Yes, ma'am. He told me that his mom washed the money.
But you physically washed the money?
Yes, ma'am.
You stupid!
She did not commit crime. I thought we lived in a different kind of...
But wait, there's more!
Now, throughout all those years, 2012 to 2016, did Donna Adelsin have signing authority for the Adelsin Institute?
She did.
And what does that mean?
She had the ability to move money without having someone else approve it.
She did not commit crime.
Did you review checks from Adelsin Institute to Catherine McManuel?
I did.
And in what accounts did you find those checks?
They were deposited into Catherine McManuel's, sometimes in her checking, but a couple of times they went into her savings.
And they were coming out of Adelsin Institute's business account with Regions?
Yes.
How many total checks were there from Adelsin Institute to Catherine McManuel?
It was 44 checks.
She did not commit crime.
This is a list of the checks that she received from the Adelsin Institute.
Were all of these checks deposited by Catherine McManuel into her account?
They were.
And who were each and every one of these checks signed on?
Donna Adelsin was signing the checks.
Okay, are these examples of 3 of the checks in the exhibit?
It is.
Okay, but she signs all 44?
She does.
Who signed your paychecks from the Adelsin Institute?
Donna Adelsin.
How many were signed by Charlie Adelsin?
None.
What do we see here?
So this is a visual depiction of the cash that went into her accounts by year.
And did you track every single one of her cash deposits from 2013 to 2016?
I did.
Which year, looking at 2013 to 2016, had the most cash deposits?
The year of the murder, 2014.
She did not commit crime.
You started getting paychecks in September after the murder, which continued through May of 2016. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And how would you receive the paychecks?
Charlie would give it to me.
All right. And you admit that you weren't doing anything to earn that money?
No, ma'am.
Other than contributing to this murder?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you familiar with what law enforcement called the bump on April 19th of 2016?
I am.
All right. Looking at these last 3 checks that were deposited into her account, was there evidence of a check later than those in sequence that was actually posted to the bank account before the bump on April 19th of 2016?
Yes.
Okay. Is that the check here to Harvey Adelson on April 4th?
That's correct.
And that would have been before the bump?
It would.
But after in sequence of McManuel's checks?
Yes.
So is it possible, given the sequence, that Donna Adelson stopped writing McManuel checks after she was approached by the agent during the bump?
It appears that way.
Do you know why the paychecks stopped when they stopped?
At that time, Sigfredo got arrested.
So they got spooked?
Yes.
If Garcia was arrested on May 25th of 2016, and the last check to McManuel was May 12th, did it appear that she did not receive any checks, according to her records, after he was arrested on May 25th?
That's correct.
She did not commit She did commit crime. She has done crime. I thought mine was wrong, but I guess I was wrong. In a different kind of world. I have lived her heart, and so is in my heart, and so is in Wendy's heart, and so is in and witnesses told outright lies. The prosecution told outright lies.
Stay tuned, Harvey.
Danny's parents contend that they have never seen their grandchild, but Wendy has shared
with me pictures and videos
and letters from their visitors and her visitors.
When was the last time they saw face-to-face their grandchildren?
April 20th.
Of this year?
Just now.
And you agree with me that it had been years, since 2016, since the last time they had seen them?
The visit stopped when they threatened to put my children in foster care, yes, but up until that point they did have visits.
For years, they weren't able to see their grandchildren despite their pleading to you to see them. But you let me finish, but you let them hang out with your murdering brother, right?
The children were permitted to see their grandparents. I cooked for them. We had play dates. They had sleepovers. When a letter surfaced that they were trying to have my children placed in foster care, the visits stopped. My brother never threatened to put my children in foster care, and if he had, the visits would have stopped with him too.
What was wrong with Dan's mother trying to make arrangements for the kids in the event of your arrest? Wasn't that a kind thing to do?
I don't think it's kind to put my children in foster care.
Wasn't the foster care intended only to cover the time frame that it would take for her to get on a plane and get here?
She never said that.
You thought she was just going to leave them in foster care?
I didn't know what to think. They have a mother. They don't need to be in foster care.
But they wouldn't have a mother in the event of your arrest, Ms. Adelsin. Wasn't that the intention of the email?
I don't know what the intent of the email was. I was not going to be arrested for a crime I didn't commit.
How many times have the kids visited Dan's parents since this murder?
Many. It'd be hard to count.
Countless times?
Countless times.
How many times have they seen him in the last year?
We had a visit with Danny's dad and his boy's cousin this summer. We've had a lot of Skype visits. They do live in Canada, so it makes it a little bit harder to have in-person visitation. But every time they've asked for it, we've arranged it.
Every time they've asked for a visit, you've arranged it?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times have they seen him in the last 5 years?
Again.
Countless?
As in the last 5 years, that overlaps with the time when they tried to put them in foster care. So since we've reestablished relations, we've seen them about twice a year, whenever they come down to Florida.
So in the last 5 years, they've seen him how many times? 2 or 3 times a year?
About that.
Are you familiar with their work across the street at the legislature trying to get bills passed to give grandparents rights to see kids?
I'm familiar with their grandparents' legislation, but it's actually unconstitutional.
The passage of this bill was immediately followed by our first invitation to have the boys, to see the boys after the arrest. The door only cracked open. Despite these efforts, we remain excluded from the boys' lives. We were not at their bar mitzvahs or graduations. We have extremely highly choreographed visits and communications.
As this bill was coming to fruition, there was a lot of negative publicity in the press and media about Dan's ex-wife, Wendy. In my opinion, Wendy was focused on improving her public image. Ruth and I were invited to attend only the ceremonial part, and we were not invited to participate in any reception typical of this type of celebration. But this invitation opened the door to one of the last limited visits described above. We were able to arrange a brief 90-minute supervised visit with Ben and Lincoln a few weeks before the bar mitzvah. However, immediately after our brief visit, Charlie was arrested, and Wendy rescinded our invitation to this bar mitzvah. At the time, she said that they were going to either postpone or completely cancel the bar mitzvah, but neither of these things happened. Instead, my understanding is the Adelsons went on to have the bar mitzvah ceremony and the party, all without the Markel family's presence or participation.
A biased judge and jury were influenced by years of one-sided news pieces and social media.
Doctor.
Out. Get out right now.
My foot is about to drill a hole in your ass.
This has nothing to do with the character of the defendant or relates to the sentencing.
May I just one moment, please?
Go ahead.
All right, thank you for letting me continue. Donna did participate in the heinous acts of doing it. This is not justice. This is violence. You're sending my wife to suffer in the same prison cell with Sarah. Oh my God! You have taken that, and 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 you have taken out. It's my life. It's not forever. It is vengeance, and it is wrong.
This
Adelsin has decided she would like to make an unsworn statement to the court.
Unsworn? We will proceed with this question.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you for letting me speak. My son-in-law, Dan Markel, was a fine and decent man.
Did your mom ever call Dan Markel any disparaging names?
She did.
Asshole?
Yes.
A narcissist?
Yes.
A bully?
Yes.
A bastard?
Yes.
Gibbers as well, right?
It was a silly name, yeah.
Including piece of shit?
Yes.
He was a good son-in-law, but more importantly, he was a caring and loving father.
He details a couple, I think it's 3 different instances in which his boys have told him that Grandma has told them that you're trying to take my sunshines away, she hates you, that sort of thing. They both tell him that Grandma says you're stupid. When asked why, they say because you're trying to take her sunshines away from her. When asked who are her sunshines, the boys answer they are her sunshines. Then again on November 30th, while playing with the older child, that child repeated the statements to Dan Markel, Grandma says you're stupid. And again when asked why, the child repeated that the defendant said that Dan Markel was stupid because he was trying to take Grandma's sunshines away from her.
On July 18th, 2014, Danny was brutally murdered in broad daylight, sitting in his car, in his garage, by vicious killers. I cannot imagine the terror he felt when he saw a gun pointed at him through the window of his car. Danny died in the early morning hours of July 19th. His death is a lull. His death is a children's death. All of us are pieces of children. Paris. Danny's boys each have a photo of Abba beside their beds. They grew up kissing the framed picture and saying, "Good night, Abba, I love you." It is interesting how the state can't make up its mind about who is what they call the, quote, mastermind behind this murder. In both of Catherine Magbanaw's trials, the state claimed she was the mastermind behind Danny's murder. In my son Charles Adelsin's trial, they claimed he was the mastermind. And now in my trial, they claimed that I, this grandma, was the mastermind behind the murder.
The state is not pulling a fast one on you, but rather that Catherine Magbanwa was hired to solicit Garcia, who in turn solicited Rivera to come to Tallahassee and execute Mr. Markel in cold blood. Just because Catherine Magbanwa didn't come to Tallahassee or pull the trigger herself does not mean that she is not just as guilty as the ones who did. She hired Garcia, who in turn hired Rivera, and she's the conduit between Dan Markel and the man who put a bullet in his head. Without her, none of this happens. Without her, we're not sitting here today. The reason we're here today, the reason we're here this morning is because the defendant in this case, Catherine Magbanwa, set up the murder of a man named Dan Markel. And the evidence in this case will prove to you that the defendant was the link, or the middleman, between the people who wanted this murder done and the person who pulled the trigger. This murder was set into motion because back in 2014, the defendant had a rich boyfriend named Charlie Adelsin. And Charlie Adelsin's family had a big problem, and that problem was Dan Markel. And the solution to the problem was this defendant. This defendant was the solution because she had connections to the type of people who were willing and capable of pointing a gun at a stranger, someone they'd never met, and pulling the trigger. The reason that we're here today is because the defendant in this case, Charlie Adelsin, hired a hitman to kill his former brother-in-law, Dan Markel. This murder was set into motion because back in 2014, the defendant's family, the Adelsin family, had a big problem. And that big problem was Dan Markel. And the solution to that problem was this defendant. This defendant was the solution to that problem because he had a girlfriend with connections to the type of people who were willing and capable of pointing a gun at a complete stranger and pulling the trigger. And the reason that we're here today is because this defendant, Donna Adelsin, was part of a conspiracy to hire a hitman to kill her former son-in-law, Dan Markel. This murder was set into motion because back in 2014, this defendant's family had a big problem. And the big problem was Dan Markel. And the solution to that problem was the defendant's son, Charlie Adelsin. Charlie Adelsin was the solution because he had a girlfriend with connections to the type of people who were willing and capable of pointing a gun at a complete stranger and pulling the trigger. And this defendant, though, she managed much more than just the office for the Adelsin family. She was the matriarch, and a domineering one at that. She ran the office, the home, and the lives of the Adelsin family members. You will see that this defendant conspired with her son, Charlie Adelsin, who solicited his girlfriend, Catherine McBanois, to get this murder done. And then this defendant paid her with cash, with checks for the job once it was completed. The defendant acted in furtherance of this murder plot that went beyond just thinking about it or just talking about it. And these acts make her guilty as a principal to first-degree murder, just as if she was the one pulling the trigger in the garage herself.
According to her own daughter, Wendy, she's the dominant force in that household. And according to her son, Rob, she is a controlling person as opposed to the more passive, go-with-the-flow type of personality that the dad, Harvey, has.
Luis Rivera called the defendant the mastermind.
Who set up this arrangement, this conspiracy to murder?
My understanding that I know was Katie was mom. She was the mastermind. She was the middle of it. She told him to come do a job, and he came to tell me.
He said she hired Sigfredo Garcia to do this murder. She told him when the murder needed to happen because Markel was leaving town the next day. She gave Garcia spending money for both trips to Tallahassee. She drove Garcia to get a rental car. She got the money from Charlie. She delivered the stapled money to the killers. And finally, she got paid too. There are natural inconsistencies in his testimony. The man has a 6th grade education and reads on a 3rd grade level.
Is it true that you were the mastermind behind Professor Markel's murder?
No, sir. That was Charlie.
I'm sure it was.
Who came up with the idea to kill Dan Markel?
Charlie.
When did the defendant first bring this idea up to you?
My first recollection was on Halloween.
What's your recollection of how that came up?
We were at a Halloween party, and right before we were about to go, he asked me a question.
What was the question?
Do you know anybody that can harm someone?
And did you know anybody that can harm someone?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Who was that?
Sigfredo.
Had you become aware during the course of your relationship with him that he had some kind of issue going on with his sister's ex-husband?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
What did you learn about that?
He was just stating that his mom and dad was stressed and that his sister was having problems with her husband and custody of her 2 children.
When he would say these things to you, is it in the context of his mom specifically or his family in general?
I believe it was more towards his mom.
Meaning what?
That his mom hasn't been sleeping, his mom is not eating. I know his dad wasn't the best health either, but he would refer to his mom a lot.
All right. And the reason she wasn't sleeping or eating, did that have to do with this ex-husband of Wendy?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us how you came into possession of this paper that the killers had.
One day I was over at Charlie's house. He had a manila envelope that was sealed. He told me, Katie, do not open it, do not touch it, do not look inside it. I didn't print this paper out from my office, printed it probably from another office, and basically give that paper to the other person.
Right, and who is saying this?
This was Charlie.
So this thing started back in October of 13 and doesn't get done until July of 14. Can you describe whether there's any pressure as time is going on and this thing is not getting done?
In the beginning of the year, I don't think there was really much. I mean, he's been planting the seed in my head that this needed to get done, this needed to get done. And I guess towards probably around June, July is when he was a little bit more adamant about this job getting done.
Okay, and when you say he, you're talking about who?
Charlie.
In the context of this needs to get done, this pressure getting put on you, is there ever a mention of the mom, Donna, or the divorce situation in the context of getting it done?
At that time, not that I can recall.
I had no idea that other people planned to cut Danny's life short.
Did someone write a letter to you or something? I got some paperwork. Hand delivered to you. You're being sued? No, that's what I thought about it. I didn't instruct you. Does it involve me or other people? Well,
why the fuck you lying? I had no knowledge that this horrible, evil act was going to take place.
What's that? Probably the children. Why you always lying?
If I had become aware of this plan before Danny was murdered, I would have stopped it.
I mean, I'm kind of thinking it's a threat to the police. Yeah. But anyway, I don't get into it. People threaten you to the police, but let me...
Stop fucking lying! With not one iota of actual evidence, the state convinced a Tallahassee jury that I solicited and conspired with other people to have Danny killed. Where is the evidence prior to the murder? The evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that the state needed to prove their case. Bitch, is you blind? I had no idea, with not one.
Was there a text message where Donna Adelsin asked Charlie Adelsin to erase a text that she sent to him?
There is, yes. So again, this is March 4th. She is communicating with Charlie. She indicates 37 miles to Gainesville.
And what does she say here?
She says, I can't talk now, but I'll text you before we stop in Gainesville where I can go to the bathroom and have a moment of privacy. Then I'll call. Please pick up because I will have limited alone time today. Erase this text after you read it.
What does she send a few minutes later?
She says, we'll stop in about 5 minutes and I can speak to you privately about Dad's birthday gift when I'm out of the car. I have some good ideas.
So she sends a text 20 minutes later saying, I can speak to you privately, and says what it's about, Dad's birthday gift.
Correct.
Does she tell him to delete that text where she said the subject of the private conversation?
There's no request to delete that text.
And how does Charlie respond?
He says great.
And then is there some communication after that where they're setting up this phone call?
Yes.
She's saying don't call yet?
Correct.
Okay. She needs 5 more minutes until she can get to the bathroom for the private call.
She also speaks in code. Innocent people do not speak in code, ladies and gentlemen.
When is your father, Harvey Adelsin's birthday?
July 5.
Right, and this is about 2 to 3 weeks before Dan Markel was killed?
Yes.
Did your family do anything to celebrate his birthday that year?
Yes, we had a party at their condo.
Okay, was there a gift from the family or from any of you to him?
No, I remember an email, and my dad is not someone who wants gifts or a big deal made about him, and so, the email was like, your dad doesn't want gifts, he just wants all of his kids to be with him on his birthday.
And was that from Donna Adelsin?
Yes.
So she's basically just letting know you and your kids coming is going to be his gift?
Correct.
Was the party a surprise for Harvey?
No.
So you were never told, don't tell him about it, it's a surprise,
no.
Anything like that, don't tell him. Were you not supposed to tell him anything about the party that was a surprise?
No, there was nothing about a surprise birthday.
She didn't commit crime.
During these conversations with Charlie Adelsin, was there ever a time when he's in the middle of these conversations with you about what's going to happen, speaking to his mother?
Sometimes he would get on the phone, he'd kind of look at me weird, and then just step out of the room and discuss whatever he needed to discuss.
All right, so he would step out, have a conversation with his mother, and then come back.
Yes, ma'am.
How many times did this particular situation happen where you were discussing what would eventually become the murder, and his mother was interjected in that way that you just described?
How many times did I think he stepped out and speak to him? A number of times.
More than 5 times?
Yes, ma'am.
So this was like a regular part of the way this worked whenever this conversation came up?
Yes,
he would
ma'am.
consult his mother and come back and speak to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that getting the job done would relieve the stress on Charlie Adelsin and his family?
Yes, ma'am.
At some point, did you learn this isn't going to be just harming, like, I don't know, maybe punch him in the face or something, it's going to be a murder?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and do you know specifically when you learned that?
There was an envelope that Charlie had given me one day that I went over to his house, and he told me not to open it, and that he had worn gloves to close it, and that was basically it. And that I was the understanding of to pass it on to whoever I knew could take care of it.
Okay.
Where is the
Evidence before July 18th, 2014 at 10:50 in the morning.
Mrs. Adelson, is the defense trying to re-argue the trial?
No, Judge, just giving an opportunity to be heard.
Mrs. Adelson, you certainly can continue. However, the court can take into consideration the utter lack of remorse that you are displaying. Please proceed if you desire to do so.
Where is the evidence before July 18th, 2014 at 10:50 a.m. that revealed that I had any involvement in his violent and horrific acts?
Where is my murder? Where is the fairest view? 5. The state needed to show that there was evidence before the murder to convict me. The state showed that because there was evidence. They were trying an innocent person. 1. The state needed to show that when, because printed news on her own defense, there was evidence that she is a hooker. She is Miss Tallahassee, 2014. She has blown a bunch of flossy. No man, why all day blew out of her back. It makes you wonder if the jurors were sleeping before. when the state had Sergeant Corbett on the stand, their own star witness testified that my phone was never, I repeat, never at my son's house on the night of the murder.
Outside your house.
The state's theory that my husband and I dropped off money to my son.
That's correct.
Was blown out of the water by their own witness. And yet the state continued to push that story, that lie of the so-called money drop, to the jury through the remainder of the trial.
So the text, I believe that the state inadvertently mischaracterized the evidence, testimony, and the questioning. The last connection to a cell tower for Donna Adelsin was at 8:59, not 8:35, correct?
For 8:59, for location, like location that we would use?
Yes.
I don't recall an 8:59 event.
Okay. I'm sorry. So you have the 8:59 as the text message?
That's correct.
And that's from Charlie Adelsin's iCloud?
That is correct.
And you don't get location from that?
We do not. And so, probably important to point out, some of these are chats, so they're actually occurring over the data network. They're iMessage versus carrier-based text messaging, where we're more likely to see locations associated with text. So with the iCloud, and knowing that those are traversing the iMessage or the Apple network, it's common for us not to have locations attached to those.
So in that regard, iMessages aren't going to show up in call detail records?
They do not.
So from the call detail records, you cannot testify, you cannot tell this jury that my client was at her son's house?
That's correct.
Nothing further?
What can you tell us about her locations that night and how long she could have spent at Charlie's residence after sending this message?
So to do this analysis, I looked at the events that we had with usable locations, and we see that there is this 6-minute phone call, and this is the 8:35 location we saw in the previous slide. But we see this phone call actually begins on the cell site in the bottom of this slide, which should be 263, and it ends on the cell site at the top. So to conduct an analysis of a potential time between points, we need to establish a point to start measuring from. So my estimation of the approximate handset's location between these two cell sites for this phone call is approximately the area of that 832 little call out here in the middle. So that is the point that I started, again, with based on these two phone calls, or the beginning and ending cell sites, estimated that the handset was approximately in the area of that marker at 832.
And in that text message, she says, outside your house to him.
Correct.
And where was Donna Adelsin's next event with actual location data after she said she was outside Charlie Adelsin's house and he responded 10 men?
Again, the next event that we have is the 1053 events. So if we look at the time that it would take to travel from Charlie Adelsin's residence to that point, we see that based on the route planning, approximately 48 minutes. And again, the actual travel time based on those cell site usages was 1 hour and 54 minutes. So we have about an hour of unaccounted for time.
So how long could she and Charlie Adelsin then have overlapped at his house during that time?
The maximum would be approximately 1 hour and 6 minutes.
And that would be including the time that she would have been waiting for him to arrive?
It would, yes.
Okay. So let's say she waited 20 minutes after arriving in, after he received the text, right?
Correct. Charlie's response to Donna was about 20 minutes after she had texted outside your residence, and that indicates a 10-minute estimated time of arrival. So about 30 minutes would be probably the shortest that she would have waited, but you still have a little over a half hour of overlap.
Okay, thank you. So total amount of time, 1 hour, 6 minutes, and they could have spent about 30 minutes or so together during that time at his residence.
Could have, yes.
Get the text messages placed, Donna Adelsin at Charlie Adelsin's house?
I believe the outside your house text message is indicative of her being outside his house.
Okay, that's what Donna Adelsin tells us in that text message, right?
I believe so, yes.
Riddle me that, motherfucker! So, an expert witness testified explained to the court, both with evidence and demonstratives, that in my demonstrative, Tallahassee had been barraged with over 9,000 printed news of my family all over social media. All I want for is my husband's cock! I cannot imagine the terror of not receiving his cock! I wondered, how could my husband get heart without giving him teeth? One of my jurors admitted during jury selection that she had background information concerning what one of the state's witnesses would be testifying about. Why was she allowed to be on my jury?
What moment?
Another juror.
Mrs. Fulton. Again, what does any of this have to do with sentencing?
Just one moment, please.
No.
What happened to Danny is unforgivable. but I am an innocent woman convicted of this terrible crime without evidence.
Wendy filed her petition for divorce on September 10th of 2012, and the defendant was right in the middle of it, arranging for movers, moving money around, and getting things set up for Wendy to leave Dan. Then Wendy calls Dan Markel and delivers the news that she's leaving him. She tells him she and the boys are moving out of the marital home, and the defendant gleefully, that was Rob's word, reported to Rob, her son, that she and Wendy strategically planned to deliver that news to Mr. Markel so that he would get this bomb dropped on him right as he's about to take the stage to deliver this lecture.
I am innocent.
The email also includes the suggestion that Wendy pursue a restraining order against Dan Markel, that Wendy should go for 100% full custody of those two kids and relocation. She made it crystal clear in these emails that she had no respect for these boys' fathers' wishes for them regarding religious practices. On March 5th, 2013, defendant sends a long email in response to every paragraph of Dan Markel's arguments against relocation, including that Dan's religious practices are fanatical and dangerous to the boys, and that Dan Markel is psychologically unfit to have custody of his children. Donna Adelsin repeatedly paints Dan Markel as a self-important idiot who's not fit to care for his own children. Dan Markel sent Wendy an email in December, which was pretty personal, and in which he apologizes for things that went wrong in the marriage and takes some accountability. And Wendy forwards this email to her mother. Then Donna responds to this personal email and goes through Dan Markel's writings paragraph by paragraph, suggesting how Wendy can manipulate his words against him. Oh, look, he's admitting this here. This will help you in the divorce. And she does it in Wendy's voice. It's weird. Look at it.
I am innocent.
On June 21st, the court issued the order denying relocation. Defendant did know that the order was final, and she expressed this in an email to her friends. The defendant recognized perfectly well that this order meant she wasn't going to get relocation through the courts. She was not happy about this loss in court. Outrageous. So at the moment, we will not be allowed to relocate. Note the phrase "at the moment." Defendant concludes this email anyway. If I sound angry, it's because I am. We're all very upset and cannot believe the outcome. She couldn't believe relocation was denied. She encourages Wendy to never, never, never give up, to take control, to not let Jibbers think he's won anything by having you remain in Tallahassee, and to show this fucker what will make him absolutely miserable. Then defendant solicits Wendy to put on the performance of her life because Jibbers hadn't beaten the Adelsin family yet. And this is where defendant reveals her plan of action, including having her Jewish grandsons baptized and offering $1 million to Dan Markel to facilitate this relocation. Giving up on relocation was not an option for Donna Adelsin. Neither was losing. But ultimately a settlement is reached, and you all have heard about this date, July 31st, 2013. The fighting did continue. On October 12th of 2013, 3 months after the divorce was final, the defendant forwards an email to Charlie Adelsin, which Dan Markel had sent Wendy. And the defendant adds the note, "This is what this fucker is sending your sister on a regular basis. He is absolutely crazy. Impossible." 6 months after the divorce is final, defendant says, "Oh wow, is he on drugs? Is he also going to pay $70K plus the legal fees and interest that bastard owes you?" So the bad blood is going strong here 6 months before the murder. Here, defendant is responding to Dan Markel's filing a request to produce, and she says it's time to give it to him. Let's aggravate him the way he's trying to aggravate you. And what can your attorney do to be proactive to give him some grief? Can't you meet with her and work out a plan of attack? Something has to be done with this asshole. This is 5 months before the murder.
I am innocent.
The defendant sends Wendy this email, and it contains every date, like the date ranges that Dan Markel has been out of town traveling for work since the birth of their first child. That's 4 years. She is able to go back and send to Wendy, he was out of town this date to this date, this date to this date. It's a little shocking that she recorded that information, but we know she is a very detailed person. She keeps these extremely detailed day planners. But Dan Markel's travel schedule is of particular interest. In fact, in light of the fact that the hitmen knew that Dan Markel had to be killed on July 18th because he was going out of town the next day. The question is how they get that information. Who had that information? Was there a reason the murder had to be done on the day that it was done?
I believe so. I believe he was about to leave.
Who was about to leave?
Markel.
About to leave town?
Yeah.
How did you get that information?
I got it from Tudo.
Where did he get the information?
From Katie.
How did she know?
Wendy.
You think Wendy talked to Katie and told her Dan Markel's travel plans?
Yeah.
Were you present for that phone call? He said he wore gloves when he put whatever he put in the envelope.
Yes, ma'am.
And so he told you, don't open it, don't touch what's in there.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so you gave this package to Garcia, and did he open it in your presence?
No, ma'am. He literally took it and left out the door.
Do you know whether his travel schedule was contained in the documents inside that manila envelope?
I would think a lot of information was there because for some reason, Secreto knew information and Charlie knew information, and that's why the whole confusion was on me.
I am innocent.
In the 2014 planner, did Mrs. Adelsin keep a lot of personal information and identifying information for members of her family and even like some friends in there too?
She did.
And as part of that information in the 2014 planner, did you locate any information specific to Dan Markel's vehicle?
We did.
What information was that?
Is the 08 Accord on the left middle of the page, right there. It's the 08 Accord, and the tag number is 584YBM.
That's Dan Markel's tag number at the time of his murder?
It is.
Same vehicle that the killers pursued?
That's correct.
Rivera notes that Garcia is in possession of a piece of paper. The paper has a photo on it and some information. This information allowed them to locate and follow Dan Markel's vehicle, a black Honda Accord with the tag number 534YBM. Information that the defendant had written in her 2014 planner. July 11th, 2014. Both Harvey Adelsin and the defendant separately, 8 minutes apart, email Wendy Adelsin about her TV repair appointment that's going to happen on the day of the murder. What do we see on July 11th?
So on July 11th, this is an email from the Donna Harvey Gmail to Wendy Adelsin regarding a Best Buy service or service for the television.
And what does it say?
It says, if you can't keep Friday, July 18th between 8 a.m. and noon, call to reschedule. It states, we took this, the contract we took out is repair in-house if possible. If not possible, they will take it no charge.
All right, did you find any more information about, besides this email from Donna, about this TV repair that was supposed to take place on the morning of July 18th?
I mean, we know that it occurred, that technicians come to her house that morning.
I got some paperwork hand delivered to me.
You're being sued?
No, that's what I thought about. I don't need to talk to you.
Okay. Does it involve me or other people?
Well, probably both of them.
What's that?
Probably the two of them. So, probably the general will be second question. So this.
What's the bump?
The bump is where we took an undercover agent and had him approach Mrs. Adelsin with a plan. It was during the time of the investigation we had evidence that linked Luis Rivera and Sigfredo Garcia to being the actual hitmen. So in 2016 we decided to created the bump to have an undercover approach her pretending to be a former cellmate of Luis Rivera. Luis Rivera in 2016 was actually incarcerated, so we wanted the undercover to pretend to be in a jail cell with Luis Rivera and pretend that Luis Rivera told him about the hit that was created.
She was handed a piece of paper that had an article about the murder of Dan Markel, right?
Correct.
That's what the interaction was about.
That's correct. That's what he handed her and made reference to it.
And when Charlie asked the defendant what it's about, what does she say?
She says to both of us.
Probably both of us, probably the two of us.
And then the two of us said it twice.
Did she report this incident to the police?
No, she did not.
I am just
What is it exactly what they asked for?
You know, I don't know, this TV is probably about $5.
They asked you for $5,000?
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking crazy.
Next, there's a statement, this TV is probably going to be about $5. Was there anything to do with the TV in this bump operation?
Yes.
Was the word TV mentioned to Donna Adelsin when the undercover approached her?
No, not at all.
Did he say she was buying a TV for $5,000?
No.
Okay. So the TV, though, has significance in the greater context of your investigation?
That's correct.
How so?
Charlie Adelsin had supposedly joked to several people about buying his sister a TV as a divorce present instead of hiring a hitman.
Was that the same TV that also served as Wendy Adelsin's alibi in the morning of the murder?
That's correct.
I am not innocent.
You know I'm next, but that won't happen. I'll take care of that.
What date is that?
November 1st of 23.
After the verdict, was there evidence found in Donna Adelsin's phone that Donna Adelsin and Harvey Adelsin began to plan to flee the country?
Yes. So there is a conversation, again in WhatsApp, between Donna Adelsin and a representative from Vietnam e-Visa regarding getting a visa for herself and for Harvey. Hi Daisy, I'm trying to get a fast-track emergency visa for Vietnam. I filled out the visa option. I wanted the fastest I can get it, put in the applicant details with our photos approval. It's for Donna Adelsin and Harvey Adelsin. She says if I do not get there until the 12th or 13th of November, is that a problem? If I am putting down November 11th as the date to arrive.
Okay. And then did they talk a little bit about how long her visa will be for?
Yes, she indicates I would like the 90-day visa.
What happens when she finds out there isn't enough time to get a 90-day visa because it's an emergency fast-track one?
So her reply is, if we get a 30-day visa, can I extend it while I am in Vietnam?
Okay, but then the chat says we can arrange for the 90-day.
Yes.
Now, eventually in this chat, does she send she and Harvey Adelsin's pictures?
She does, yes.
Okay, are they letting her know all the things that she'll need to provide?
Yes.
Okay, and does she say 90-day multiple entry is what I would like as fast as possible, and that next Monday, as the next Monday to receive the visas, will be fine?
That's correct.
Okay. They've received her email.
Correct.
And she sends her picture. Does she send Harvey's picture as well? Okay, thank you. Now, at some point...
In addition to the photograph, she also sends copies of their passports.
Okay, and this is where they're flying into, the date of arrival, the email, and the type of e-visa it is.
That's correct.
Okay, she gives them her flight information. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, we're 5 days later, and does she say in capital letters, now it is almost 10 a.m. on Sunday. We take our flight tomorrow at 8 p.m. That is 30 hours. She's afraid that she's not going to get it in time. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, what happens next?
So the response is that we will send e-visa to you within 21 hours from now. It's fine for your flight. Please don't worry.
Okay, and does she actually end up getting her visa?
She does, yes.
I am not innocent.
So this is November 13th, 5:28 a.m. She receives a visa for herself and for Harvey Adelsin.
Okay. We've heard about Donna Adelsin's planner. Was there some entries in the planner for the week after Charlie Adelsin's trial that indicated they weren't planning to come home anytime soon?
So the first entry we see is sell and list jewelry, dishes, implants, comics.
Did they have a note about packing for Vietnam? Okay, was there also notes at the bottom about canceling disability insurance?
Yes.
And then was there evidence in Donna Adelsin's phone of why Vietnam was chosen as where they were going to go?
There were searches related to extradition, which would have contained Vietnam as non-extradition.
Okay, can you show that to us? When did she Google list of United States extradition treaties?
It would have been on November 7th.
Okay, so the day after Charlie Adelsin's verdict?
Correct.
And the same day that she first started the chat for the emergency fast-track visa?
Yes.
You're a fucking idiot.
I am not innocent.
Well, that made a decision at some point. So after speaking with Dan this morning, and what they're thinking of their backup will make it happen early on. So Dan said, you might, or you might just hold it, get to the airport, and that could happen. It could happen, I don't know, but it's worth a try. We have the photos. We have to get them downloaded, and the other thing I don't understand, we've been looking it up over and over, because things change if there is extradition from Vietnam. Because we've looked at all the places, I could go to Korea and China, but there's no extradition. But looking for places with no extradition. Maybe she knows that. Maybe she can look up the extradition before we go take their time. She can tell on me, like down
And based on this recording, did you do some investigative work to try to look into whether that was in fact really going to happen?
I did.
Okay, and what did you learn?
We didn't hear the call for a couple of days, so it was a few days later. But I did check with another government agency to try to find out if there was an international travel plan. And ultimately, on the 13th, I believe it was, I was told that yes, there was travel plans made.
And were the travel plans to Vietnam?
They were to go through Dubai, then to Vietnam.
And is Vietnam in fact a non-extradition country?
It is.
And is Dubai also non-extradition?
That's correct, it is.
Okay. And when was that travel plan supposed to occur?
On the evening of November the 13th, 23.
And were you able to intercept the defendant prior to taking off on that airplane?
I was.
And where did you do that?
At the Miami International Airport, right through the gate check as they were boarding the plane on the jet bridge is what they call it.
You're under arrest for I don't want to give it to you. Why do I have to?
Because my attorney said not to.
Why do I have to give it to you? This is evidence. Evidence. She's under arrest. I have to go with. I have to go. I have to look at you. Let me help you out. No, I have to stay. Please don't do this. Don't stay. You need to grab the bags. Take the bags. Yeah. And you need to wait outside. Oh.
Someone's got to help him get home. This is terrible.
Acting.
You can't do this. This is insane.
Acting.
Let's see, I have my necklace on.
What I got?
You can take it off.
Yeah, take it off. Yeah.
And the earrings.
The flight that the defendant was attempting to board at the time of her arrest, was that a one-way flight or a round-trip flight?
It was a one-way flight.
No further questions.
I am not innocent.
Well, her life was crumbling down in her family's life, so she said everything felt like Dan was haunting her from the grave or them, I don't know.
I'm going to prison for a murder I did commit.
Who had a motive to want him dead?
It's me.
And within 1 hour of the shooting, well before Professor Markel had even been pronounced dead, this path was already pointing to the defendant when Wendy Adelsin revealed to officers that her parents had more reason to dislike her ex than anyone else.
Danny would have been appalled at the total lack of justice that went on during my trial. There are 2 crimes here. The first was Danny being viciously murdered. The second one is taking my life, the life of an innocent woman. Convicting me should not be retribution for Danny's death. That is not justice for Dan. I've always respected the law. I've never gotten a parking ticket. But I do intend to do outside of Tallahassee. 11 years ago, Danny was murdered and taken from all of us who loves him.
I never seen someone cry with their tears not coming out, so I just want to make sure you're okay.
Because it's an inner cry, bitch! For the past 9.5 years, the state has broadcast to the world, including Danny's parents and sister, that I hired hitmen to kill him. Never in a million years would I have wanted Danny to be harmed or killed, nor could I ever do something that would leave these two small boys to grow up without him. I love these boys more than life itself.
Including having her Jewish grandsons baptized, and the threat of this conversion to Christianity. Quote, if he leaves you in Tallahassee, the children will not be attending Hebrew day school. That's not a threat, just a warning.
The defendant said that it did not matter to her if Wendy had to dress her two little toddlers up in Nazi or SS uniforms, as long as she was able to get them to South Florida and show Dan Markel that he was not in control.
This is a lifetime of loss for me, and so, as I appear before you today, Your Honor, I did not deserve this.
It's not me. It's not me.
I promise you with my whole heart. I swear to you on my life, I was not involved in any way with Danny's murder.
Mrs. Adelsin, control yourself.
You f***ing cruel, cold-hearted you piece of fine and decent shit. You horrible, evil asshole.
As to the sentence in this matter, Ms. Adelsin, please rise. Level of planning and coordination to bring the murder of Professor Markel to fruition was significant in this case. These were not crimes of chance or opportunity, and these crimes also required you to conspire with your son and others. You certainly can choose to deny your involvement and maintain innocence. The court finds the evidence in this case is clear. You will be sentenced accordingly this afternoon. You will be sentenced. The jury has found you guilty on charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and solicitation to commit first-degree murder. On count 1 of the indictment for first-degree murder, you are hereby sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole or release. On count 2 of the indictment, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, you are hereby sentenced to 30 years in the Department of Corrections that will run consecutive to count 1. The court will also sentence you to 30 years in the Department of Corrections on count 3. Counts 2 and 3 are to run concurrent with each other, but consecutive to count 1. You are hereby sentenced to life in prison.
Donna's selfishness, cruelty, and complete disrespect for human life, along with that of her co-conspirators, have left families forever broken. She has harmed forever the people she claims to have loved, especially those two boys she claims to have loved so much. For these reasons, Your Honor, I ask the court sentence Donna Adelsin to the maximum possible sentence. And my only short question to Donna, was it worth it? Respectfully, thank you.